Hey, all my friends at 100 Huntley. I just love the people at Crossroads. I appreciate for years and years consistent ministry that started with David Maines all those years ago. But I'm John BEVERE, and I'm here talking about my new book called God, Where Are You? It's about the season in our life that all of us go through called the wilderness. The wilderness is when God seems like He's a million miles away and His promises are even further. In fact, it seems like you're regressing from the promises that He's made to you, like Joseph was. What is the purpose of this wilderness? Well, it has many purposes. Number one, it is the season where God grows us up. Number two, it's the season where He works humility in our life, and that is so important. Number three, it's the season where we discover what's in our heart. There's nothing wrong with that because we need to repent of things that aren't godly so they can be taken out of our life. Number four, because of that, it's a season of purification. And here's the one I want to talk about right now. Number five, it is the season that strength is developed in us. If you look at Luke chapter 1 verse 80, it says, "So the child grew and became strong in spirit and was in the deserts till the day of His manifestation to Israel." Think about John the Baptist, who Luke is writing about here. He spent 30 years training for a 6-month ministry. All of his friends are going to the school. He's a priest's son. They're all going. All his friends are priest's sons. They're going to school in Jerusalem called Gamaliel. But yet God says to John, "I want you in the desert." And it's in the desert that he develops strength. Now, the desert represents trials. It's when we go through hardships, trials, affliction. Let me share with you something that happened with me physically so you can understand it spiritually. When I was 35 years old, a WWF wrestler lived right next door to me and took me to the gym for the first time in years. And I remember I could only bench 95 pounds. It's pretty embarrassing, but that's all I could do. Well, I started working out with him on a regular basis for 6 months, and I went from 95 to 105 to 125 to 145. I got up to 185. I got up to 225. By the time I was 42 years old, 7 years later, I bench pressed 315 pounds. I remember when I bench pressed 315, I was doing 225 10 times. But yet, it took me 5 years to break that 225 barrier. Now, I want you to stop and think with me. If the first time that WWF wrestler would have brought me into the gym when I was 35, if he would have put 315 pounds on the bar, what would have happened? That bar would have come down the speed of gravity, it would have busted open my chest, and I would have been dead. God doesn't want that to happen to you. There are certain tasks He needs done in the harvest field. And some of these tasks are going to carry greater weights of persecution, greater weights of affliction than other tasks. And if you stay at 95 pounds, let's say I never got past 95 pounds, I couldn't have ever benched 225. And you have to understand there's a lot of believers, because they fight against the wilderness process, they don't cooperate with it, they end up staying at 95 pounds. So God has to give these assignments that carry 145 pounds of persecution to somebody else, 225 persecution to somebody else. I don't know about you, but I want to be a soldier that Jesus can send into hard places, and I handle it in a way that brings Him glory and honor. I want to encourage you, get the book, God, Where Are You? Because there's so much more I write about this that I want you to get into your heart so that you bring Jesus great glory.